So two quick clips from the same replay. A game I played recently in one of my newer tanks. I know it's RT, don't hate me, but I'm grinding up. I just bought the Lorraine 15550. So I'm going to try and ace it and try and get through this tank as quickly as possible. But two clips from the same replay. I switch over just in time to see a tracer shell from enemy RT. So we're aiming here, almost reloaded. Oh, and a bigger tracer shell, so that is the higher tier. Well, not the higher tier, but the bigger gun. So I switched there because I know that there's more chance he's still sitting in position, so we're blind shooting. And GW Panther is dead. So after a quick reposition, because we lost town, I am going to fire and blind kill an object 416. I don't know why this happens in RT. Well, I do because of the splash radius, but yeah, you seem to get a lot of RT blind kill snapshots. An object 416, I had no idea he was even there, but yeah. Ha ha ha. Hi guys, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the Challenger, the Tier 7 British tank destroyer. Although that's just the first of many annoyances about this tank I have. Yeah, because in-game it's a tank destroyer, but in real life, this wasn't. This was not a tank destroyer in real life. The Challenger was a medium tank. It was the Cruiser Mark 8. It was designed as a medium tank. It operated alongside the Cromwells in Cromwell battalions. See, in 1942, the Cromwell was introduced. The Cromwell had some teething problems, but mainly the biggest issue with the Cromwell was the fact that the gun wasn't good enough to go up against heavily armoured German armour. So, yeah, they developed a version of the Cromwell that used a 17-pounder. But in order to mount the 17-pounder, what they had to do was they had to make the turret much bigger. And in making the turret much bigger, they then had to lengthen the chassis of the tank in order to fit the larger turret. So, it's basically, the Challenger is basically a Cromwell with a lengthened turret and a a lengthened hull, a larger turret, and a 17-pounder. And as I say, it was designed to fight alongside the Cromwells to give them greater anti-tank capability. And it was a medium tank. So, in World of Tanks, it's a tank destroyer. And where does this come from? Well, yeah, it comes from the fact that in 1942, there were 200 Challengers built, and they performed quite well, but they had some issues. The first issue was this larger turret was just too large. It was much too big, so British crews didn't like the tank over the fact that the Cromwells and the Comets that this tank fought alongside were quite small, and this tank was quite large. It was very difficult to hide. It had a very high silhouette, could easily be spotted. So that was the first issue. Second issue was it had the same problem as the Cromwell did, in that when it was travelling too fast and tried high-speed manoeuvres, it basically detracked itself. The tracks would come off. So that was another reason the crew didn't like it. And the Ministry of War for Britain didn't like the tank because it was just far too expensive to manufacture. But they needed a tank with a 17-pounder, and up till the point where 200 of these were built in 1942, the M4 Sherman wasn't able to mount a 17-pounder, but those problems finally were overcome when they turned the gun on its side and the Sherman Firefly was designed and became reality. So the Sherman Firefly was much cheaper to buy for Britain, or much easier to manufacture for the US. It could fit the 17-pounder, provide the same amount of firepower, didn't have quite as high a silhouette, and didn't track itself when it tried high-speed maneuvers. So mainly as a result of the fact that the Sherman Firefly was much cheaper, the Challenger project was scrapped after just 200 were built, even though the tank did actually perform quite well during World War II. So the British basically decided that, you know, maybe we can continue working on this project and turn the Challenger medium tank into something a little bit different. And they came up with an idea to turn it into a tank destroyer, which is about the only reason this could possibly be a tank destroyer in World of Tanks. But what they did was they took the Challenger and they gave it a new open-top turret, like the Hellcat of the time. So open-top turret, and they called the tank the Avenger. The Avenger was manufactured, about 250 of them were built in 1945, but they were built just too late to play any part in World War II. They were used around Europe in post-World War II, but Yeah, 250 Avengers were built, and they were considered tank destroyers. So this is a medium tank, and with this turret, it becomes the Avenger. It becomes a tank destroyer, which is possibly the only reason, as I say, it's a tank destroyer in World of Tanks. Problem is, this is not open top. But Irish, you said the Avenger had an open top turret. This is not open top. Yeah, in-game, this is known as the Avenger turret. This is actually the final Avenger turret that was built and put on the tank in real life. So it wasn't quite open top. You could see that the top actually flips back, so it can be slightly open top. You can see that there's grills and mesh here. Basically, this was post World War II to give the tank, or a new turret was designed to give the crew protection from airburst shells. So this was the last turret that was mounted on the Avenger tank destroyer. But yeah, in game this is called the Challenger, and in stock configuration this is a medium tank. In the fully upgraded configuration it's a tank destroyer. But yeah, I mean, it's not a very good tank. I mean, that all the historical information, it annoys me, because they could have put the Avenger in the game. There was no reason to call this the Challenger. They could have given us the Challenger as a tier 7 medium, premium maybe, or tier 6 premium medium, I don't know. And they could have just left the Avenger as the open top tank destroyer, and when you upgrade the final turret it becomes this turret, and then it's not open top anymore, it's closed turret. So again, it's two tanks in one, and it shouldn't be called the Challenger, it should be called the Avenger, because as I say, the Avenger was a TD, the Challenger wasn't. The Challenger was a medium tank. So yeah, annoying. But the next thing that annoys me is this is just not a very good tank. It really isn't a very good tank. It's got slow traverse speed, it's got incredibly slow hull traverse, turret traverse. It's a 17 pounder, but it's on a tier 7. I mean, this is a 17 pounder that's on the tier 5 British tank destroyer, the Achilles, but you've got the same gun on a tank destroyer that's 2 tiers higher. You can see tier 9s. And the 17 pounder, while it's a good gun at tier 5, amazing gun at tier 5, it's a good gun at tier 6. At tier 7, I mean, 171 millimeters of penetration on 150 damage. Just don't do it against tier 8 heavy tanks or tier 9s. And yeah, it's very, very lackluster. I mean, the AT-15A, the tier 7 premium tank destroyer, gets the same gun, but that gets special matchmaking, and this doesn't. So yeah, the gun, very, very lackluster, low alpha damage and low penetration. And when you come down to the premium ammo has got good penetration, but the alpha damage is still terrible, and that means that the premium ammo is quite expensive. You're going to be shooting at penning tanks with premium ammo, and you're not going to be making your credits back. So this is not a very good money maker either. So yeah, the gun is very underwhelming, and when you add that gun to the fact that turret traverse speed is poor, the hull traverse speed is poor, the camo rating of the tank is not very good, yeah, it's just not a very good tier 7 TD. You know, when you compare this thing against Russian TDs, you know, there's no comparison. So it's not quite a medium tank. It's not good enough to be considered a medium tank, and it's not good enough to be considered a TD, in my opinion. It falls somewhere between the two, and it's not good at doing either job. But anyway, we're going to get going. This is a game on Abbey, platooned with Tanza, and extreme matchmaking. So, as I say, straight after this game, I sold the tank, because I just hated it. I really, really hated this tank. I mean, it gets 10 degrees of gun depression, but the problem with 10 degrees of gun depression is you still expose so much of your turret in order to use your 10 degrees of gun depression. So 10 degrees is a positive. You know, it's not as fast and maneuverable as a Cromwell, but, you know, it's fast in a straight line. It does up to about 50 kilometers an hour. So yeah, I mean, the top speed is not terrible. But just trying to traverse. Here we go. Look at that! You know, enemy Challenger, and this is why just the high profile of the turret is just awful. So anyway, I figure he's not going to peak again, and I noticed that Tanza's going to need help on the 1-2 lines, because only 2 tanks have gone over here. So now I'm not playing as a TD anymore. I'm going into medium tank mode. And it's just not a very... You can see how slow the turret is traversing here. Now, this is a 914 game. I still have a couple of ace tankers from 914. This is a 914 game, and the tank got buffed in 915. So, you know, surely there's nothing to complain about, Irish. There's nothing to complain about. The tank got buffed. Yeah, the tank got buffed. The traverse speed of the tank got buffed, but only if you're using the stock suspension. If you're using the upgraded suspension, you've still got the horrible hull traverse. The gun dispersion on the move was increased, so yep, okay. So shooting on the move was improved by about 15%. Shooting while turning the turret was improved by about 8%. So, oh, yep. So yeah, I mean, yeah, these are things that really don't matter, because the fact is that tank's turret traverse is just so bad in the first place. So improving the accuracy after moving the turret and after moving the hull, when the hull and turret traverse are bad in the first place. There we go. Oh, unfortunate bounce on the Cromwell, which is basically what this tank is, but Tons and I are just working this corner here. So yeah, the horrible traverse speed of the tank wasn't improved, and the horrible turret traverse speed of the tank wasn't improved, and I bounce on a bloody Cromwell again. And this is what even though, you know, this is a tank, the Cromwell I should have easily been able to pen, but I couldn't. I bounced twice on the Cromwell. I just hated this tank. You know, it's possible to have good games. Bounce on a Cheery, hooray! 171 millimeters of penetration. Now that shot may have gone low, it hit him on the tracks, but it's still, I mean, you know, for a tier 7 TD, you would expect to be penning tanks with no armor like the Cheery and the Cromwell. But yeah, for just some reason the Challenger, it struggles. So, you know, before 9:15, the aim time and the accuracy of the gun were good. You know, it had 0.33 accuracy, and it had, I forget what the aim time was, I think it was about 1.7 seconds, so the aim time and the accuracy of the gun are good, of the tank were good, and you know what, in 9:15 they decided to make them better. So the accuracy was changed from 0.33 in this game to 0.3. It was improved a hell of a lot in 9:15. And the gun dispersion was improved by 20%. So now the gun is more accurate, and it has a slightly faster rate of fire. The accuracy, the rate of fire was improved, I should have mentioned that as well, but yeah, it's got better DPM slightly than it had. It's got better accuracy than it had, which was very good in the first place. It has better reload time and aim time than it had, which were good in the first place. So in 9:15, basically, they buffed everything that was good about the Challenger and made it better, and then left it with all its problems. They left it with all its problems, which are mainly the hull traverse and the turret traverse. And the tank, it suffers from just having a poor gun in the first place, but there's no reason for this tank to have such poor turret traverse. Really, there isn't, because as I say, in real life, this is a medium tank. It drove alongside medium tanks. And the only thing that makes this a tank destroyer is this final turret, because the gun, the engine, the hull, they're all the Challenger, which is the Cruiser Mark 8. It's a medium tank that basically was almost as good as the Cromwell, just slightly slower top speed in real life. But anyway, yeah, just a lot of annoyances. So we've done some work. I've picked up 3 kills. I'm only on 1,000 damage, but I've had to relocate to come back for defending the spawn, because there are at least 5 enemy tanks moving through spawn. And I'm using bush mechanics here. And I've bounced, I'm going to start bouncing on the OI because he's angled. I'm looking for a reticule, green reticule, can't get him. So just poking forward, spotting enemy tanks. Critical hit. So just like the Cromwell, this tank doesn't have very good armor. And as a result, tanks firing HE can do a lot of damage, so that's why I'm a little bit worried about the OIs, but thankfully Tonza has taken out an OI. I was using premium ammo to deal with the OIs, and I put 1 shot into the KB1, and he's not happy about it. All gold noobs, OMG. Yeah, dude, sometimes when someone shoots you with a gold round, it's because they had it loaded for another tank. They're not going to hold their shot just because they don't need it. But Type 58 takes out the Leopard, and it looks as if we've successfully defended spawn. So there's a Cheery in the middle, there's RT in play, SU-100Y is somewhere, he was last spotted on the 8 line. So T-67 last spotted in the 8 line, so yeah, Tons and I did a very good job. We came down this flank, we killed 3 enemy tanks, advancing down this flank. Then we came back and defended. And it's a very, very nice matchup. As I say, we're top tier. So a couple of tier 5s, one tier 7 and a tier 6 left. I've got plenty of hit points. Tonza's done a decent job. And the ironic thing is that as much as I'm complaining about the Challenger, hey, we get a shot on the move, but there's the rate of fire, which is better than it was when I played this game, but we take out the Chiri for kill number 4, but yeah, Tonza's in a medium tank, and I'm faster than Tonza in a straight line in my tank destroyer. So just a little bit of irony there for the Brits. But we're up to 2k damage. Kill number 4, T67, SU100Y. You know, even a T67, even though he's lower tier than I am, he could still do a lot of damage. But this is, you know, a fortunate ace tanker because it was a tier 7 game. And had this been a tier 9 game, as so often happened, it would have been a completely different story. So, even with all the buffs this tank has received, as I say, they buffed everything that was good about the tank and made it better, but they left everything that made the tank terrible. So I have absolutely no regrets. No regrets about selling it. I'm still waiting to get some free XP together to start playing the tier 8. But I'm told that the tier 8 is actually quite a good tank. But I'm in no hurry. This is one of the tanks that I was playing to grind through and playing to get an ace, and I just dislike the tank immensely. So set up here, let my Binox and Camonet kick in, trying to spot Artie, trying to spot the SU100Y. A very dangerous SU100Y. I'm on 624, so technically the SU100Y, if he rolls high, could one-hit kill me, depending on what ammo choice he's using. But Tonza's on 900 health, so he's decided he's the one who's going to be doing the spotting. I'm playing a little bit more like a tank destroyer. I've been playing more like a medium tank up till now. But playing more like a tank destroyer. Just poking. Tonza's trying to get vision on any tank, and he just takes a hit for 100 damage. So T67's back there. Oh, there's the HMC. And the first shot goes high. Second shot goes in. Blind shot. Tonza gets him. That would have been a blind kill if Tonza hadn't taken it. Now Tonza's saying that the T67 is sitting up on that ridge where he was last spotted, so that's why I'm going for some blind shots. Now unfortunately Tonza has lost a little bit of health. I'm being very careful here going down, because this was at a time when you could do a lot of damage to your tank driving off slopes. But Tonza's lost quite a bit of health as a result of that spotting, so I decide that, okay, I've got more health than he has, so I've got to be the patsy. Unfortunately, I end up taking 2 hits from the T67, but I get into cover. Artie is no longer a concern, so it's just the SU100Y and the T67. Tonza got shot. Tonza's informed me that the SU100Y is an A7. The T67 is right where he was last spotted, so that's why I decided to make the move and try and flank. But I'm definitely a one-hit kill for the SU100Y now, but we're poking. No sign of the T67. Artie has come up to support Tonza. And Type 58 has gone back to defend, so okay, T67 is down in cap. Now what I'm doing on TS is I'm telling Tonza, alright, SU100Y is there. I'm going to go distract him. Get ready to shoot him. We've got to kill this SU100Y while the T67 is busy. We're winning, but I'm expected to get spotted. I didn't get spotted. Okay. So I'm telling Tonza, get ready to poke, get ready to poke. And this is one of the things that surprised me, really surprised me about this game, because the SU100Y, I know how his alpha damage is. I know, I'm actually going to slow this down, because I know his gun depression is not amazing. I know his gun depression is only at 6 degrees, so I'm moving up, and he's on a ridge, and I figure I'm safe from his gun depression. Look, his tank is actually aimed up in the air. He's not looking at me. He's actually driving up a rise. And that's just how high profile. I mean, he was on the hill. He was on a rise, and he was still able to get enough gun depression to hit the top of my tank because, yep, this tank, the profile of this tank is just so high. So, very hard to see, but he managed to pull off a shot that I thought was impossible for the tank, but I was wrong. So, yeah, end up dying, but I don't care. I don't care. We've done 2k damage, 4 kills. Tonza's on 3 kills. And we're just going to go. So Tonza's decided to go cap. I'm going to put this on ×4 because this is... Yeah, I'm not going to sit here for the next 2.5, 3 minutes and just talk. So T67 gets spotted. RT is pre-aimed. Tonza's on low health. T67 could win this. He could actually win this. RT misses. Tonza moves forward. Gets one shot in. But now it is 1 versus 1, so T67 needs to shoot Tonza twice, possibly 3 times. Tonza needs to hit the T67 once, I believe. Yep. And manages it. So there we go. Tonza secured the game for a win. So I didn't think this was an amazing game, but when the ace tanker popped up, I was very happy because it meant I didn't have to play the tank again, ever again, even though it got buffed. We also picked up a Confederate and a high caliber, but yeah, I am so happy to be through the tank and onto tier 8 now. So 2k damage, 4 kills, and 1167 was enough to pick up the ace, thank goodness. Also very nice matchmaking. Again, top tier, can't complain. You know, the Challenger, it's even worse. It's even worse when it's up against tier 9s or heavily armored tanks. Games where there's a lot of heavily armored heavies on the enemy team. Not a fun TD to play at all. And it's technically not a TD, so that's all part of my issue with the tank. We fired 28 and we only hit 20. Now, that was a little bit disappointing. Missed 8 shots in there somewhere, although I did take a few blind shots where I thought the T67 was sitting. But the accuracy got buffed. The aim time got buffed, the reload got buffed, and those are 3 things that the tank did not need buffing. They were good enough already. The problem with the gun is not the aim time, it's not the accuracy, and it's not the reload. The problem with the gun was the penetration and the fact that the tank saw tier 9s and the low alpha damage. And it still got exactly the same problems. The hull traverse and turret traverse are still bad, and it still got the same problems, unless you happen to be using the stock suspension, in which case your hull traverse is 2 degrees faster, which is pointless. So yeah, I mean, the tank got a lot of buffs, but none of them make the tank more effective, in my opinion, in 9.15, but I'll never find out because I'm never going to have to play it in 9.15. 2k damage, spotted 1, damaged 11, destroyed 4. Didn't realize I damaged almost the entire enemy team, but 14, 15 assistance damage, 7 base defense points, and we only earned 17,000 credits with a premium account. Now, if I'd been playing with a standard account, we would have only earned 3,000 credits. I mean, simply because I fired 4 premium rounds in there at an OI. That's basically where all the money went. The ammo just isn't worth spending premium on, even though you need premium, because the alpha damage is so low. So of the 20, we only penned 16. We bounced 4 shots. 2 shots were bounced on a Cromwell. 1 shot was bounced on a Cheery. Yeah, for a gun that should have been able to deal with tier 7s that had no armor. So, the tank. The tank was just a disappointment all round. So yes, first game of the day, ×2, left me on 3,502. So yeah, happy to get rid of this tank finally and move on to something better, because everyone tells me the tier 8 is very good. Can't think of the name of the tier 8 off the top of my head, but it's going to be a while before I play it because I don't have the XP. Don't have the free XP for some of the modules. But anyway, yeah, I'm just feeling generous today, so I've still got a bunch of Steam keys. You know what, I'm going to give away a Steam key on this video. If you're still watching, leave a comment below and I'll put you into a draw for a Steam key. And that's pretty much it. Just feeling generous today. It's been a few days since the last video because I was under the weather, but I'm going to give away a Steam key now that I'm back. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.